What I love is that I think gender-neutral pronouns best reflect my gender identity. So when people use them, I feel really affirmed and really like myself.
For me, they make me happy. I feel happy when people refer to me as they, because it feels true to myself.
You can take agency over how you want to be identified. You get to choose how you're defined, and you're not sort of restricted by what society, what kind of label society puts on you.
A person is a person, and maybe they are defined by those classic gender roles, but it's not necessarily who they are, I guess.
You are also able to broaden the gender pronoun spectrum as well, so you're not restricting it to anything in specific. So normally you would say, oh, well, with boys and girls, or he and her, that kind of thing. You're actually saying they, which will expand that out to include any and all people under the gender spectrum.
You know, for a world and a culture that hasn't really done a really good job of having anything other than highly gendered pronouns, using they it's a really good option, and I feel the way in which people are using it opens up the word and opens up the language. And because so many people use it with different identities and backgrounds, it's even if you're still using they, it's still got a question mark of you need to know me more before you can make any assumptions.
Yeah, I've been in shops before and people will turn around and they'll say, hey, can I help you, sir? And all of a sudden they'll catch and themselves and they'll be like, oh, sorry. And that's a little bit awkward for them. And I don't care. They've just quickly turned around and said something. So I think if people learn to use the other pronouns, they'll just not make as many mistakes and avoid awkward situations.
You know, activists are using the genderbread person and the gender unicorn to teach children that their sex was merely assigned at birth, and that their gender identity is fluid, it exists along a spectrum, and that they could be a boy today, a girl tomorrow, both on the third day and neither on the fourth day. That's not true. Biology isn't bigotry, and biology reveals that we're male or female, and then gender is how we give expression to that biology. Gender is how we express our bodily, biological sex. This is why the best therapies for gender dysphoria, they don't try to do the impossible, which is to change bodies, to align bodies with thoughts and feelings that are misguided. Instead, the best therapies for gender dysphoria, they try to help people feel comfortable in their bodies. They try to help people align their thoughts and their feelings with the reality of their biological bodies.
One would think that the Victorian state government would have more to do than to make videos for those who do not wish to be known as a boy or a girl, as a he or a she, or as husband or wife. And I'm sure they already know this, that there's a higher authority than the state government on this matter. That authority comes from the Creator himself, who left us his word. In Genesis chapter 1 and verse 27, God said, he created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. In Genesis 4:1, and Adam knew Eve, his wife. In Genesis 5:2, male and female created he them. In the New Testament, in Matthew 19:4, the Lord Jesus answered and said unto the religious leaders, have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female? In Mark chapter 10 and verse 6, it says, but from the beginning of the creation, God made them male and female. What will the end of all this nonsense be? Well, I believe the end is simply the fact that the Victorian government, or any organization that seems to lead people into this nonsense, They are the blind leaders of the blind. And if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch. The end is destruction. And the government spends so much time and funds on so-called mental health, they are creating more and more problems. Thank you for watching.